Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on your time zone. You are watching Seeds for You by Sherry, and I'm Sherry. So welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about sowing seeds into the lives of others, which is a more in-depth explanation of what my channel is all about. And so today I would like to talk to you about having the seeds in hand to sow into the lives of others. Before you're able to plant something, you have to have something to plant, right? So you need to have seeds. The other thing I would like to talk about is that in doing so, it should not have a selfish motive. You should not do it because you want accolades, you want people to know that you have blessed somebody, you've done something for them. It's not about you, so that's the other thing. You have to have the right heart. You have to have the right heart, which would also play into the part of you not seeking accolades and having selfish motives. And then you need to have a receptive participant or a candidate, the person that you're trying to help or you're trying to sow seeds into. They have to be in a place to receive the seeds that you are trying to plant into their lives. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we get started, I would like to remind you to subscribe to my channel and then to be sure to click that notification bell so that you are notified anytime I upload or post new content. Okay, all right, let's get started. So, as I said, we're going to be talking about sowing seeds into the lives of others. So what exactly does that mean? That means really to help out other people in some way or another. Whether it is helping them monetarily or helping them spiritually or just encouraging them or sharing some of the wealth that you have. It's a number of ways that you are able to sow seeds into the lives of others, okay? It's not always about money. It's not always about a gift. Let me give you an example. For instance, what if you have a coworker who are experiencing car trouble and they took their car to the shop to get an estimate, and then lo and behold they found out that it was very expensive and something that they could not afford. They come to you and they ask if you could help them out with rides to work for a while. Now, to give someone a ride to work one day or twice would be very easy to do, but supposing they need your help for several months, this could become a bit taxing for you because, I mean, after all, you have your own life too, right? But the key is sowing a seed into the life of another. So if you are able to sow a seed into the life of that individual by helping them out a few months with a ride to work, just imagine the impact that you could be making in their life. Having the seeds in your hand is the fact that you have the transportation, that you could use your transportation to help them out. You don't want to be judgmental. Being judgmental is often probably what the homeless people experience. Like a homeless person begging for money on the streets or holding up signs that I will work for food, etc. You never know what happened in their life that caused them to become homeless. Sometimes it's not that they were on drugs or that they were alcoholic. It could have been that they took a chance on a business deal or was hospitalized for too long, lost their job, ended up losing everything. So there is a myriad of reasons why people could end up where they are. But we're not to judge. The Bible teaches us that unless you have all of the facts to a story, you should not judge. If you're only hearing one side or you're only seeing one side of a story, then it's not fair for you to make judgment. All right. So this person could be homeless and needing your help, and perhaps you're in a position where you could help. You can give them some money. And I know that some people say, I'm not giving them my money because they're probably just going to drink it up or they're going to buy drugs with it. That might be true. Maybe they are, but that's not your business. You helping them should be coming from a pure heart. It should come from a place that you just want to help or bless somebody. Now, if that's what they do with the money, then that is God's business. It's not your business. It's your business to help. Okay? All right. And then let me say something about this as well. The Bible teaches us that the poor will be with us always. That's never going to change. So if you can make a difference in somebody's life, then go ahead and do it. Not all homeless people remain homeless for the duration of their lives. There are a lot of people who are successful today who have experienced a life of homelessness. It doesn't have to be their final destination. Just imagine what the reward would be like for you when you see them later on in life and you find out that they're successful, and perhaps it has something to do with the fact that you helped them along the way. Maybe you said something that inspired them or motivated them to the point where they became so determined to change their situation that they actually did. How amazing is that? That is called sowing the seeds into someone's life and then it growing into something amazing. Your reward is seeing them succeed. It's not in the accolades. It's not in the fact that people are telling other people, did you know that Sherry blessed them with this amount of money? It's not about that. It's about what you can bring to the life of another. As a matter of fact, a lot of people who have a lot of wealth, who are in positions to help other people, really, do you think that all of that wealth was given to them just so that they can make sure that other people knew that they were well off and successful? No. Actually, some of those blessings were given to them to share with others. Another thing that we can do for the homeless would be to make blessing bags. You know, this is not an ideal that I crafted on my own. I actually learned about it from a preacher and a first lady. A blessing bag would contain items like a bottle of water, a granola bar, something healthy, a pair of socks, deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrush, things that they could actually use. And then around the holidays, you know, and you don't have to wait for the holidays to happen, but at Christmas, this could be a bonus. You could include a card and say, God loves you, stay encouraged. Put some money in there, maybe a few dollars, $5, $20, whatever the Lord lays on your heart, and then you give that to them. And just imagine, who knows that the fact that you thought enough of them to do this may be the encouragement, the inspiration, the motivation that they need to become determined to do something about their situation. And then another scenario, supposing somebody is in need of money and you have the money to give them. You have the money to give them and it not hurt you at all. Or even if it's a sacrifice. I don't think that you should really look for them to pay it back. Unless you're in a situation where, you know, you really need it and it coming back to you will help you not to run into a situation if they are in a position to do that. But most of the time when people are down on their luck and they are in a position where they have a need, a monetary need, they're not in a position to pay you back. So don't always worry about getting it back from that individual. The fact that you are doing it, you're making a loan to God. Did you know that? If you are reading your Bible, then you probably already know that. But when we do things like that, we're making loans to God. And if we make a loan to God, I'm sure He's good at paying it back. And you're going to get back more than what you gave out. That's just the kind of God He is. If you're going to tell people about the blessing bags, don't tell them to bring any type of credit to yourself, but to tell them about it so that perhaps they might want to get on board too. It's not always about money. It's not always about gifts. It's sometimes about sharing a testimony. I had an opportunity to volunteer as a chaplain for about a year in a hospital in St. Louis. It's a very interesting assignment, let me call it that, because sometimes you may meet someone 5 minutes before they die. And I actually did that. I met a man 5 minutes before he died, and I had the opportunity to hold his hand until that last final moment, because we believe that no one should die alone. I also met a young man in his 20s who was in the hospital because he was had been involved in a motorcycle accident. This accident caused him to lose his leg. Okay, young man, just imagine how his life changed. 1 minute he had 2 legs, he was able to live his life as he chose, and now all of a sudden he only has 1. He did share with me that he had a girlfriend, but I wonder if that relationship lasted because his life changed. And so she needed to be a special kind of girl to continue the relationship with him now that he only had 1 leg. So what I did, I had gone to an event where an artist was there, and he was there to talk about his book and his experience that led to him writing the book. And what it was about was a man who had caught on fire as a young boy, and I can't remember the age, maybe like 8 or so. And what inspired him to do what he did was that he saw some older kids start a fire, probably with alcohol or something like that. Maybe they put it on the sidewalk and then they lit a match and then they showed how it would flame up. So he took it upon himself to start a fire on his own, and it went wrong. Okay, he caught on fire and he burned up the majority of his body to the point where he was near death. Just a little boy. He was hospitalized for a long time. He went through all the different emotions that you go through when something drastic like that happens to you, where you get to a point you don't want to live anymore, you want to give up, you just feel that your life has changed so drastically that there's no point. So he wasn't able to write anymore. He wasn't able to write his name, to write anything. He wasn't able to do anything with his hands. He was ready to die. But he had a very strong mother sowing seeds. This is about sowing seeds into the life of another. She sowed seeds of strength into that young man, seeds of determination into that young man, to the point that by the time we met him as an adult, he had written a book. He was able to play a piano with the very same hands that he was not able to use as a young boy to write any longer. Not only was he now able to write with those hands, but he was able to play a beautiful song for us. And when I say beautiful, I mean beautiful, on a piano. That if we didn't know that he had no fingers or wasn't able to use his hand, we certainly would not have found out that day, because it was just so amazing. Well, because we were able to attend that event, we all got our very own copy of the book. So imagine how excited I was to have this book, to go home, to read it and enjoy it and hear more of his story. But it just so happened that I got that book probably like 2 weeks prior to meeting the young man who lost his leg. I went in, I encouraged the young man, I prayed for him, and on that particular day he had a pretty good attitude about it. But we have to remember that he was at the beginning of his journey of losing his leg. So all of the stuff that was to come later on following that misfortune would probably become very testing in his mind, where he probably want to give up. What happened with the girlfriend? There are a lot of things. And so I went in and I talked with him, and that particular day he had a really good attitude. But I'm thinking far in advance. I'm thinking about the days when his attitude is not that great. When, he's finding out that he can no longer work the job that he had, or that he can no longer ride this, or he can no longer do that. And that, again, would all depend on his mindset. Because just because he only had one leg didn't necessarily mean that he couldn't do all the things he did before. I mean, just remember the young man that was in the fire. He couldn't use his hands to write, but now he's writing and playing a piano. So it depends on what's in your mind. The Bible teaches us that as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you believe that this is just a stepping stone for you, but you can still yet carry on with your life, you can. So I made a sacrifice with the young man, and I gave him my book. I haven't had the opportunity to read one page of a book that I was excited to read. I gave the book to him. And I said to him, please, I think it might have. And he received the book, and I carried on with my life. That is called sowing a seed into the life of another. Now, whether or not he read that book, maybe he didn't read it at first. Because, after all, he had a lot on his mind. He had to come to terms with his new life and the journey that he was facing. So it may take time for him to get to a point where he picks up the book and says, okay, I'm going to read it and see what's in here. And that could have made all the difference in the world in his life. I think I mentioned earlier about sowing seeds into the life of another. Supposing someone comes to you, they need money or whatever the favor is that they're asking, and you're in a position to do it. You can do it. You have the money, if that's what they're asking. Whatever it is they need, you can do it. But instead, you tell them you're going to pray for them and you walk away. Now, shame on you. Shame on you, because you had an opportunity to help someone, to make a difference in their life, to change something about them. Who knows? You passed up a golden opportunity to help someone, and you told them you would pray for them. Now, I'm not subtracting from prayer or saying anything negative about that. That's not the thing, because we all know that prayer does change things. Okay? But what that person needs in the moment is not just for you to pray for them. Still pray. You can do that. But that's not what they're needing in the moment. The prayer can be answered instantly. We know that. Or it can be delayed. Because in the Bible, Daniel prayed to God for something. And it took a while before he got the answer. Not because God didn't hear him. Not because God did not answer the prayer. But because the angel who was coming to deliver the answer got caught up in combat with the enemy. So it detained him. And when the angel finally arrived, he said, God heard you from the beginning, from the time you prayed. But it got caught up with the principalities over the region of wherever it was that he was trying to go to deliver this message to Daniel. He was delayed by the enemy. And so that can very well happen. So sometimes when your prayer isn't answered right away, it's not that God didn't hear you. The answer is on the way. The enemy may be fighting, which I'm pretty sure he is, because that's what he does. You don't want to get to a place where you're just telling people you're going to pray for them and walk away when you could do more. If you can do more, and that's all you offer, then shame on you. And then for some people, they may feel like whenever their luck is changing and they're down on their luck and they're experiencing a downward spiral, they may run out to the payday loan place and feel like this is going to help me. I'm going to go and I can borrow $300-$500 and that's going to help me to get out of my trouble. Please do not do that. Because that is not the answer. The only time that the payday loan store, establishment, or whatever it's called, is able to help you is the first day that you get the loan and you walk out of there with the money. Anytime after that, you're in debt. So you have added debt on top of the debt that you already have. Messing with a payday loan, because they make it so hard for you to get out of there, and the interest rate is ridiculous. Probably like 400%, something crazy like that. I happened to be scrolling through the internet one time and came across a lawmaker about that. And someone was on the side of the payday loans, and then there was the person who, the authority, who was questioning them and things of that nature. And I'm going to tell you, the person in authority was really kind of eating that person up, because she was letting her know that I know that you're not really helping the people by giving them this loan, because the interest rate is this, or that. And it's making it very difficult for people to get out of debt with you once they're in. Now, some people get in that cycle and they're running back every 2 weeks, just trying to keep that loan paid while they're still trying to maintain other bills, and they're never getting the loan paid. So you may go in there and borrow $300 to $500, but by the time you're able to finally get out of that, if your financial situation hasn't changed during the course of this time, you have spent thousands for a $3 loan, which is ridiculous. And I just thought that was so interesting to hear that lawmaker chew that woman up. I thought that was wonderful. I'm just going to be honest. So make sure that you're sowing seeds into the lives of others, and you're doing it for the right reason. And make sure that the person that you're sowing a seed to is in a position to receive. Because we do have some people that you try to help, but they're too proud to receive it. So if they're too proud, then you can't help them. So you need somebody who is in a position to receive. You need to do it for the right reason, because after all, you're loaning to God, and He's going to pay you back in ways that you can't imagine. But you're not doing it for that reason either, because the reward is feeling good about what you're doing. That's the reward for me. I helped someone just recently, and that person was so grateful, so grateful. She just kept trying to thank me, and all I kept saying was, thank God. Thank God. Because I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in the video, but there are times when I get up and I ask the Lord, bless me to be a blessing. Bless me to be a blessing. And when God does that, when you pray that prayer, then you need to look for opportunities, because he will do just that. So when the opportunities come, be ready to give. Be ready to give. All right. I hope you got something out of this video today. Again, my name is Sherry, and you are watching Seeds for You by Sherry. So if you haven't done so thus far, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you are notified anytime I upload or post new content.